I believe we are live. I'm going to share the link out right now as we speak on the Pan con Titeres page, just so folks are aware of where we're at. So bear with me, please, y'all. Um, and there it is. Wow, awesome. Okay, okay. Let me stick this on speaker view and say, where are we? I need to pin myself here. Yeah. Yep. What's going on, mi gente? My name is Rich Villar. This is La Esquina, the open mic featuring the Titere poets. Guys, you can unmute yourself for like 5 minutes and just be like, or for like a couple seconds and just be like, yo, Wepa, what's going on? How you
Buenas
doing?
noches.
Oh, buenas noches.
Wepa.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
We in the building.
We are definitely in the building, y'all. So listen, welcome to this edition, this virtual edition of La Esquina. I want to thank you all for joining us in this absolutely insane time. Guys, I can tell you that the link is up on the Pan con Titeres page. So if you want to go and share it out, you can go grab the link, and I'm going to put it here. What you call it? Yeah, let me cut this chat out before folks be seeing it online. I don't think they can, but we're gonna try to keep it copacetic. In either case, we have the link up on the Pan con Titeres site, so you can check it out and share out with your homies. The Pan con Titeres site on Facebook, I should say. We have the YouTube link there. So we created this space. We were originally at the bookstore in Bushwick. We were at Mil Mundo's Books during the pandemic. Of course, that's not quite where that's not quite what we're doing now. Everything is a virtual esquina, but we are here nonetheless. So I want to kind of go around and introduce you to the guys. Say what's up to Rebel Poet. You can unmute yourselves as I point you out. What's up, Rebel?
Still my peoples. Rebel Poet in the flesh.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Over to my immediate, well, this is on the actual Zoom link. To my immediate right is Vigo Hard. Say what's up, Mark.
What's doing, everybody? How you doing? I hope everybody's staying safe. Be in store. We're gonna have something good for you tonight.
All right. To my, well, in the Brady Bunch view, down here is what you call it, Mr. Anthony Rivera. Say what's up.
What's going on, everybody?
All right.
Titere poets. We in the building.
In the coveted Alice position, right underneath me is our boy Mario Ponce Pagan. Say what's going on.
Buenas noches. Un placer estar con ustedes. Let's kick it off.
Ya tú sabes. And then to this way, I don't even know if most my right or left anymore. Say what's up to Isa Guzman.
Yo, que pasa, everyone? I hope everyone's safe and pleasant this evening.
All right, and occupying is this the Cindy Brady position or the Jan Brady? I forget which, but in either case, say what's up to our boy D Bird El Palabrero.
I bring you a hearty wepa and a night of justice.
Wow, well, there you go. A hearty wepa from D Bird, and we are off and running for La Esquina. I just wanted to kind of set the table for y'all in terms of like who we are, right? So this might be your first time tuning in. Some of you know us all too well. But so the literal definition of the titere, right, is in Spanish is puppet or marionette, right? But that's not quite what we are. A titere also is, well, someone on Urban Dictionary defined it like this: the lifestyle, spontaneous person that does not abide by the rules, only answers to himself, lives for the present. That's an Urban Dictionary definition. It's not always the most accurate in the world, but perhaps the closest definition is this sort of generally agreed upon explanation from New Eureka street slang, right? The titere is this guy in every neighborhood that everybody knows, generally to be found on the corner, sometimes with other titeres, commenting on people, on politics, the news, the hood rumors, universes, mysteries, and stories from the past. So the Titere knows what every building used to be. It's the guy who shouts bajando at the approach of the policía. He knows which bodegueros in a 10-block radius sell Lucy's, the illegal stuff your mom's used to kill house pests, not house pets, the cucarachas and shit, right? Not your actual pets. And sort of other items from what polite society might call the underground economy, right? And the chances of the Titere being involved in that economy are usually pretty good. The Titere is the dude that's always holding up the lamppost when you come home. He kind of shows up to your block party. Sometimes he disappears for a little while, but he always comes back and he's always got a story. He's got nicknames. He's got bad jokes. Sometimes the Titere is your pop or your uncle or your older cousin. So to the New Yorican, right, the Titere is sort of like an archetype, the anti-hero that's always kind of familiar to anyone who comes from this particular barrio. Often he skirts the boundaries of the law, of family, and of good taste, but he's a fixture nonetheless, right? So if you take that definition and then you apply poet to it, right? If a poet is someone who agitates society, who creates from thin air, channels the duende, speaks truth to power, then a Titere poet is the one who does all of that without permission of the establishment, for the neighborhood he comes from, kind of in any form he chooses, right? So you'll often find the Titere poets in the back of the reading, cheering you on, making noise for good poems, or heckling you because they can, right? So the Titere poets is a collective of male poets. Um, we're sort of dedicated to exploring and redefining this archetype of the Titere, right? So the Titere poet challenges conventional wisdom, digs into the realest stories of his home, his hood, himself, challenging notions of modern manhood, and relentlessly examining the roots of machismo. And that's kind of what we're doing to redefine that term, with an eye toward defeating it, right? So that's what we're about. And so the Titere poets thus, in standing in solidarity with communities that are battling systemic oppression, homophobia, transphobia, and most assuredly racism, we stand allied with these communities. We stand allied with the women in our communities. We reject misogyny, patriarchy, and we keep no business with those who would endanger the safety of individuals within the communities that we engage with. So that's kind of what we're about, right? And we're gathered here right this second, in a really, really strange time in our history, right? We, first of all, it's bad enough that we're dealing with a pandemic, but to deal with a pandemic at the same time as dealing with the continued murder uh, of our African American brothers and sisters, of Black bodies generally, is insane, and it's something that requires a response from all levels of society, and the artistic community is no different. And so we wanted to come on here and just offer some work in the spirit of the time, and offer some resistance in the spirit of the time, and to continue on the journey toward justice, which, as we know, is a long bending arc, but eventually does land on what is right and what is true. And so in that spirit, I would like to turn the floor over to our brother, Mr. Anthony Rivera, who's going to start us off, and then we're just going to offer some poems, and yeah, we're going to keep it rolling. So Anthony, what you got?
How's everybody doing this evening? I hope everybody's doing well. My name is Anthony Rivera. The piece that I am going to bring to you right now is actually not a piece. It's more of just a quick nod to the history of the Caribbean, of the Taino people. And so I just want to just set the space for a second. I'm in my own place, so I just want to be able to just light some herb real quickly, get the smoke going, reach the ancestors. And I want to talk a little bit about Jukahu. And so to the Taino people, Jukahu was the main deity, the main person or the main entity of which they worshipped. He was responsible for the creation of the earth, of human beings, of the plant life, of the waters, all of that on this, in the planet. And he's responsible for the stars within the universe. And his beginning starts off with his mother, who, in the vastness and void of space, out of nothing created herself. And so in creating herself, she also created some of the stars and some of the celestial bodies that exist. But she was very unhappy with her creation because she felt like it was not organized. And so in herself, she thought to create children. And so she had two sons, Jukahu and his twin brother, Guacar. So as Jukahu is the, I want to say, sort of the light side of the yin side of things, Guacar is the yang side of things. And so Jukahu is power, especially to Puerto Rico, to the island of Borinquen. He is carved out of stone. This is what his semi looks like. And the reason why it is pointed like this is because it is believed that the semis existed, and the semis are the word for the representations of the deities. But it is believed that they live in the mountain of El Yunque Point. And so this is supposed to represent that point. But he is also known as Jukahu because he is the Lord of the Juka. Jukahu, Bagua Maurokoti. So Jukahu means Lord of the Juka. Bagua means he who is without father. And Marokoti is of the fresh waters. Which is sort of a callback to his mother, Atabe, who is the deity of water, of fresh water, specifically. And so one of their beliefs, one of the people's beliefs was that their God enabled them to win or lose in situations. And so the test of your faith and the victory of that spoke to the power of your God, of the Semi which you represented. So in this creation story, Jukahu sees the chaos and he says, you know, this is what I'm going to do to, or give it order, to organize it. And so he creates the earth. And in the earth, and this giant mass of rock, you could say, he decides, you know, I'm going to put the plants. And he lays out plants across the earth of all kinds, the grasses, the flowers, the moss, the algae. And then he creates the animals. And it's, the iterations that we have of these stories are very Christian in that he looks upon these things and he sees the goodness, or he sees that it was a good creation. He's satisfied with his work. But he feels like there's one thing missing. And that one thing is something to tend to the animals and to tend to the plants. And so he creates human beings. So the first human is called Lokuo. And he was pretty much the Adam of the Taino creation story. He had one-on-one contact with Jukahu. And it wasn't until Jukahu decided to sort of separate from humanity and exist in the spirit realm that that man decided to carve out his image in stone. But Jukahu is also the god of the gods, of the other semis. And so if you had a desire or a wish, you could go to any semi that you wanted to give you your desire. But in essence, all of that sort of came back to Jukahu in that he was sort of the enabler of those deities and their power. They had power on their own. For example, Guabances, which is the goddess of climate cataclysmic events like the hurricane, earthquakes, storms, and things like that. One of the legends, one of the stories, the way the mythology goes is that when the hurricane would come, the people would pray at the foot of the mountain of El Yunque Peak because the way that the mountain is literally, or the way it's geographically positioned, it's so high up that as the storm passes it, it splits. And so it divides, it sort of breaks the storm in half. And so the people saw that and looked at it as sort of this this fight among the gods, it's almost Olympian. And so they had their own power in their own right, but it was always Jukahu who imbued them and gave them their power and gave them sort of the ability to fulfill other wishes, everyone's desires. I think that that's all I have to say for the moment as far as Jukahu. Right now is the time of Jukahu, especially the spring. The spring is when he comes out of hibernation and the harvest, not the harvest, the sowing begins. And so people begin to plant the seeds and begin to plant for the Juka. And I'm just going to end it with that at the moment. And I'm going to move on to a whole other piece that is absolutely separate from Taino mythology. This piece was, I was blessed by a brother, Mario Ponce Pagan, who was like, yo, read this piece. So he sent it to me. I'm going to read this piece. It's called September 28th, 2018. The morning breeze grates the palm tree gently. The quiet is loudest mostly in the morning. Every day es el principio of everything. El coquí has lost his voice. It is the 6th day in a row La Guinea has not fed her pollitas. El lagartijo has lost the only tree he ever called home. La golondrina had to walk with a bucket to the nearest manguera. El loro is packing up, moving to Chicago, to his primo in Florida. The iguanas have started ayudando organizing, picking up the pieces. El murciélago is on sello, frantically asking, copies, copia. Buscando a mis abuelos o llaman manco de bombar Manuel Pagan en vive en los indios. El gallo has no idea if his mother is alive. She lives in Las Quebradas. El cocubano has not been able to turn the power back on. El chivo died in the hospital because no había electricity. El chivo's brother hung himself because he lost his little brother. El yunque shivers. The sun had the audacity to show its face. El gato is looking for his wife. El perro, he's okay. He lives in San Juan. El torrito cries every time it rains. La vaca doesn't know how to console el torito. Who checks in on la vaca? El caballo died at home. La yegua buried him in the backyard. He is not counted among the dead. La luna has agreed to stay on until the Cocubanos gets off their ass and light up the sky. Me dijo el guaraguao que hay comida y agua en el puerto, pero no one is thinking about us. We have been forgotten, lied about, villainized, and taken advantage of. We are citizens. How did City Bike Blue become part of the landscape? We smile and rebuild, and dance and laugh and make love and celebrate life and protest and overthrow the governors, and still Boricua. Thank you.
All right, all right. Give it up for Anthony Rivera, y'all. Well, as much as you can give it up on a quiet Zoom. Anyway, Baya, thank you very much, brother. Coming up next to the mic is our brother from Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Give it up for Vigo Hard.
How you doing, everybody? Always happy to be here together with my brothers, doing what we do. I'm gonna always take it back to where I come from, man. I was born at the age of what I consider the genesis of hip hop, so I'm always gonna be rooted there. I'm gonna start there, and I'm gonna venture into closer to the present time with stuff that we're dealing with now. So it's a few pieces. So I'm just gonna get into it. First piece is called "I'm Old School." Chilling like a villain in my CRV, tunes banging on my system from days that used to be. The Loonies got 5 on it, but the question of the ages was Black Moons, how many MCs? You wasn't even in the game, Herb, until you ante up with MOP. Eric B for president, cause the one we got now is so whack, G. Oh shit, looking at my Gucci, it's about that time. So let's take it back a little bit to the golden age of rhyme. Lyricism, the athletic, linguistic, verbal expression of emotion in an imaginative and beautiful way, was the only benchmark of a true MC, not this bullshit repetitious trap rap beat. I want to hear nice and smooth, that's effects and the far side. I want to hear Funky 4 plus one more, Tony Tone, the Cold Crush Brothers, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five. You can call me old school, man. Does it look like I give a rat's ass? Because my hip hop is the true hip hop. This shit they putting out now belongs in the fucking trash. So break out them classic jams. DJ Coco Tasso, your crates are like rivers, yo. They run deep. Even the Beastie Boys can represent up in this biatch because they know when the party's in Brooklyn, yo, there's no sleep. My hip hop is that true hip hop that can cold crack a brother square on the jaw. You see, I'm like old dirty bastard because, oh baby, I like it raw. Now, some of these new jacks are making their money, man, and honest to God, I ain't even mad. But what they're trying to pass off as hip hop nowadays just breaks my heart like a sucker's busted grill. That shit looks so damn sad. So, Cocotazo, my man, I know you're feeling me on this shit. So just do what it is that you do, man, like Eric B. Make them clap to this. Thank you. Continuing in that vein, this is another piece that I call that old boom bap. Boom, boom, bap, bap, boom, bap. I write when the fire hits me, catching the words quickly as they dance around my mind like fireflies flickering. Classic beats in the background. Yo, you listening? The boom, boom, bap, bap, boom, bap. Got me breaking the sweat like a fresh Miller High Life right out the icebox, man. My skin is glistening. The bottom, I'm a low end, just right. Bass hit you like a Tim to the chest, teeth clenched tight. That rim shot's like crack. Bap, bap is the comeback, Jack. Boom, boom, bap, bap, boom, bap. This piece is called Finding My Voice. Quite some time has passed since I last put pen to paper, feeling lost as if something has withered and died inside me. The rush of words coursing through my veins hasn't been felt in a long while, where they once raged like rivers from the waters of a storm named Maria. causing damage beyond relief, causing damage beyond belief, but nothing more or less than a pure force of nature. It cannot be blamed for simply being what it is. And once it passed, you truly saw the worst and best of humanity. Rolls of paper towels passed about as if they were all that was needed. They were as useful as a 6-foot ladder to climb to the top of Trump Tower. Get my mouth. My people suffered as they always have. They are still suffering, but not as much because they have been created to endure, to persevere, to survive. We care for our own, and we make our own way. In all the years of our existence, they have tried to silence us. They have tried to destroy us, failing in all their attempts. But I am now beginning to find my voice once again. Thank you. This next piece is called That Bitch Ass. He's bitching about freedom of speech and censorship because they won't let him tweet that far-fetched bullshit no more without a fact check attached. Now he wants to shut down all social media platforms that allow everyone else to speak that truth to power. So tell me, who's trying to be the ultimate censor now? Who's the one trying to suppress any and all who oppose his wannabe dictator ass? Nita, get in my mouth. These next two pieces are a poetic form that I've been experimenting with called Decima. I hope I do it justice. The first one is called What Kind of Protester Are You? You're either very fine people or you're considered a thug. Trump the con man lies like a rug, spins tall tales for all the sheeple. Stable genius whose mind's feeble. What kind of protester are you? White? Fine people. Black? Don't shoot. Full-armed whites can storm state buildings. Unarmed blacks dying. Cops keep killing. What kind of protester are you? Classified by color of skin, texture of hair, shape of your nose, the way your family tree grows. Blessed or cursed by your melanin. When will cops stop killing our kin? Hell will freeze over before then. Justice is blind, so dress warm, my friends. Racism's not our creation. It's a white man's abomination. Justice is blind. Dress warmly, friends. Columbus didn't start this shit, just followed early examples. Prior instances were ample, long before he arrived by ship to decimate Tainos quick. Black is wrong, whereas white is right. Whites get free passes, blacks killed on sight. My words offend you? You're racist. Where's your rage? You're racist. Face it. Whites get free pass. Blacks killed on sight. This next decima is called redemption. In order to be forgiven, it takes a level of remorse. Guilt weighs upon that soul of yours. Atonement's the key to heaven. If you fail to do so, what then? Does your soul become a lost cause? Will faith sustain this life of yours? Redemption, not an easy task. Forgiveness, not an easy ask. Those are the keys to heaven's doors. For all my people out there in the struggle, keep faith, keep unified, and keep fighting for what's right. Thank you.
All right, give it up for Vigo Hard. All right. So, let me read you a headline that just came across my my virtual desk here from CNBC. Updated 10 minutes ago. It says NFL condemns racism, admits, quote, "We were wrong not to listen to NFL player protests." So you heard it here first. The NFL is basically copying to the idea that Kaepernick was right all along, and maybe we should have been kneeling, and he wants to protest alongside the players. So yeah, if you want to check that link out, it's at cnbc.com. There's also I'm sure it's breaking kind of all over the place. So as you're listening, take that in. That's extra, because
That's huge, man. That's huge.
it's huge. It's also like, yo, can you give Kaepernick a job? Because Lord knows there's some teams out there that could probably use his services, but then again, maybe he doesn't want their services now.
I'll take him.
Yeah, you'll draft him, right? So yeah, that's pretty wild. Um yeah, so coming up next to the virtual mic is our brother out in the wilds of yeah, out in the boonies and shit. Give it up for our brother Rebel Poet.
I am Caribbean Valley, Still River, non-certified laborer, host of Zoom Smile, reflection of brown boy, lonely, bomba drum skin, spilling espiritu through N95, mask, reggaeton, percussion, persona, downbeat, tate quieto, aura, sabrosura, el sofrito de milagros, sorullito de María, tamarindo rebeldía, curry spice attitude, guarapo, booch drink, libation to fatherless, weeping earth, I am, daydream, volando chiringa en el morro, orchestral symposium in C minor, waiting on D train, watering flower pots, children of Baldwin, Palo Santo Salat, repellent de todo malo, el duende's legend, un semi, algarete, made of concha y hueso, unearthed in Caguas, enlightened on cis trunk, I am, galloping dragon, making his way through ghost town, too phantasm for its own reckoning, Bella Blanca in turbulent sea of doubt, burning despite own veracity, Julia's punch-drunk lover, Ponce's ternura, Fela's face paint, Don Pedro's cadence, Francisco's temperance, Yo soy, flirting flores, Filipino coreano, sun-shaped vessel, slave lineage, Kirutsi kuroi boy, gold dust, hot blood, I am, grassroots movement, loud, whisper, mumbled boom bap prayer, butterfly and bullet, sereno at dawn, coqui song in unison, altissimo, when you know you just made your way back home. What's good, mi gente? Rebel Poet here. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here amongst brothers in this turbulent time where it seems that finally we are going to be seeing changes in our system. Hopefully, it's about time. You know, this has been ongoing. So I have not had the opportunity to write for the occasion. I do have a piece that I wrote that I would like to dedicate to everyone that is out there protesting, that has been in the streets. This piece I wrote after a Black Lives Matter a couple years back. You know, we've been marching for years, and it's about time, you know. So we're in the precipice of not only a pandemic, but hopefully a social and political shift. This is called We. We, considered speckle, stain, trained to serve, slave, work, we work, then die, broke, blank faces, nameless, they colonize our purpose, incarcerate our pride, give us titles to divide, conquered descendants, never a people, a community, never a tree, 'cause we systematically secluded, diluted, cut from the root, segregated from the truth, so misrepresented, we're presented as immigrants, as foreigners who bleed red, white, and blue, axe the mourners in the corners. La Policía, they harass our manhood, brutalize our culture, they're vultures in this prime time Telemundo. No more propaganda, selling our eyes, novella lies while black and brown skin gets victimized. Urban genocide, our ethnicity been injected into America's veins like dope. Still we cope with lucid hope, cashing in bodegas so dreams for body bags in the land of retribution, where the solution has been white supremacy, hate for the non-whites as enemies. So we say Black Lives Matter, no matter the price. In the streets, we're saying together we stand. We're saying our ancestors' lives will not be in vain. No more will we be commodities in this global economy, but to say we've won, we must come together as one until we've won. We can't say that we've won until we're one. We can't. So I'm gonna close it out with the piece that is dedicated to my brother that passed away 2 years ago. So I would like to end it on a light note, and just give a shout out to all my sisters out there supporting the brothers. You know, this is called Legendario. Bituki batilimbing yo, pero que yo solo estaré y juraré cuando tú mueras, que aún así con mi presagio tendré tu nombre a flor de labio, nunca moriré. A la le. I wear night like skyline. Excuse that thing. I'm in a group chat. I wear a night like skyline to find my shine legendario. Old folk tale from el barrio, charlatan, wisecrack, slave spiritual soundtrack, smile, heaven sent omen. Empirical Sunday sermon, somos de los Wilson, porque bueno es el pan y se dejó comer de ambos lados. Brother, convicts, conviction, conciencia de bichote, dealer, redemption from junkies, addiction, wrote for forgotten unbeliever, no lies in these eyes, pa que tú lo sepa, bodega, ghetto gospel word to the wise, el incorregible is his name, justicia by any means is claimed to fame on the corner, Titere sees past broad blocks sipping bochinche, making sense out of disorder, sensing pain pouring, compassion into poor hearts, growing flowers out of asphalt indeed. Titere grieves, speaking righteous curandero lingo. Que lindo! Rebuking bad intentions with single glare. No joda, que te doy una bofetada bien da, brujería, thought to be lynched decades ago by gringos, palabrería, pure black magic, poesía de la tierra de gigante, attitude, vintage classic, siempre pa'lante, we here today, tomorrow no se sabe, el que nada debe, nada teme. Why would a títere live forever? To us, family equals tribu. How clever. Loyalty is rebelling against oppression, is cold, is close to home. You should know. Uncontained fury can be explained. Madness, a flame. I was born of the fire. No hay quien me coja. Tengo ojo de águila, so listen, list in, hear his petroglyph, gift, hieroglyph, rift as it outwits pessimist. Gente que se confunde, only he can judge me. Here is your chance to witness este títere speak. Mi gente, thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And I'm gonna give it to the next títere.
All right, Reb. Give it up for our brother Rebel Poet. Um, I think maybe the dings were actually our group chat in the Zoom. So I'm gonna ask that we kind of chill with the chat because that's just what happens. Actually, the ding means that the poem is fresh out the oven. That's really what it is. It's hot. It's ding, that's what that is. So it's all good, bro. Next up to the mic, give it up for the head títere in charge, ese tipo, Mario Jose Pagan Morales. Yeah.
I had to do that. Primeramente, buenas noches. My name is Mario Jose Pagan Morales. It is an honor to be here with you folks tonight. I always look forward to getting together with my brothers and talking about the day to day, whether it's what's happening out in the nation, whether it's titeriando, or whether it's just about familia. So I cherish these moments. I am an essential worker, so I have been going to work for the last 3 months, off and on, but now I've been on most of the time. So I'm just gonna get into my poems, which have to do with COVID, have to do with honoring familia, and then I'm gonna bring it back to what's happening in the nation because it's not new. This has been happening for since God was a baby, as Prophet says. So I'm gonna start off with this poem called "Visitando su chilla, un pájaro observa." While visiting his side piece, a bird observes. The city, solitaria, cleanses itself of basura. En la 42, las rats can mingle without the anxiety of looming paparazzi, can eat pizza, drink night train express, stumble downstairs without being on the cover of the New York Times. Midtown, the horses rest their throbbing tobillos from cliche boda proposals around Seneca Village. Las ardillas could give two fucks. They stroll around con la familia como si cada día fuera Easter, reclaiming colonized and gentrified parques. The feral cats marvel at the possibility of reconquistando Hell's Kitchen en el nombre de Heathcliff, Garfield, y Riff Raff. Las cucarachas are hysterically laughing. A cough. Mira, a fucking cough. The sparrows sunbathe on el FDR Drive, overseeing el Hudson, glimmering a silver capa towards el horizonte. Striped bass and sturgeon tiran a rooftop after party en el Entrepe, y blues en cocolías bochinchan sobre quién hizo quién con quién. Porgies share Instagram pictures, adding new friends to Facebook. And Steve Jura, hizo las ballenas in the Hudson cuando cruzaba el puente. This next poem is called Ire, or In the Presence of God. How exhausting to be a puddle of pena, a living casket. Here, sage, velas, y prayer shoot CeeLo on buff hospital floors as Reverendo Pedro rolls trips for your salvation to get you through the gate where Abuela will meet you con un cafecito bien cabrón to receive you in the land of your ancestors. Melancholia rains on you. You remember the 5 pesos you borrowed from the willow tree on Loisaida para la cura? That time we cried at your birthday, it smelled like botanica. The grown-ups giggled, said El Egua ate all the piñata candy. Navidad, we all came to your house to play Nintendo, but your tío sold it for manteca. La cubana who lived on the 3rd floor, the one we fell in love with, whose husband dressed her in black and blues porque Edie Chacon had nothing on her. Your favorite song, Bobby Capó, could make you dream of Puerto Rico. When we burned down Abuelo's lemon tree, we swore never to speak about it. The neighbor's bicicleta you borrowed sin permission. Abuela whooped your ass porque aquí no se crían ladrones. We got smacked on Mavi. The carnival in Ponce, summers in Nueva York, a drumming circle in Orchard, Lake Welch, La Parada, screaming, Yo soy Boricua. You love children, but didn't want any. La Lupe, Hector, y Carlo, amen. Your last birthday, I told you not to inhale. The antiseptic bland chicken brings you back to bendito, family, friends, well-wishers, a biography of you. They speak of your good name. Tears cling to staying a little longer, hoping for the miracle they saw on the telenovela where everything was fine at the end. They go to church more than they have in years. Ruegan to anyone who listens, blisters, thumb, and pointer, rotating bead de que tu virgen like candles on the block. A collage of you stands on 3rd Avenue. The clarimancer rolls the bones. Clack, clatter, rattle, boom. 4, 5, 6. Because this is how you get through a portón. Your body gives up the ghost. No se despide as you begin to walk. Iré. So a couple of years ago on La Sopa, Profe gave us a writing prompt based on Araceli Gramey's A Night for Henry Dumas. And with everything that's been going on, I haven't really been able to write about the present. So I wrote a poem for Anthony Baez, and I went back and I edited it. So this is A Night for Anthony Baez after Araceli Gramey's A Night for Henry Dumas. Anthony Baez, 1965 to 1994. Did not die because he was overwhelmed by the beauty of El Yunque or of old age surrounded by loved ones celebrating a long, good life. 1:30 a.m. Thursday, El 22. La Jara Park, drinking Folgers, filling out paperwork, wasting taxpayers' money, sometimes sleeping, waiting. David and Anthony reliving Super Bowl 25. Anthony 5'6", 270 pounds. Edie's son, David's big brother, Maribel's husband, security guard, student, not a father yet. Visiting from La Florida, looking forward to snow or Navidad, thinking of Mami's bustelo, aguinaldos, parrandas, papis coquito, thinking, vamos pa aquí, vamos pa allá. On December 22nd, pre-gaming. Sin querer, the pass would hit Lavotti's car. Aggressive cop, 11 excessive force complaints. His sergeant present, como si nada. Arrest David, Anthony will protest. Francis chokes out Bias 29. Mount Hope said it heard Anthony say, no puedo respirar. Cameron will be renamed Anthony Bias Place. Nochebuena will be canceled indefinitely. The night cannot breathe. La noche dice, please don't shoot, my hands are up. La noche just went jogging. La noche sells CDs on the corner store. La noche was home, died today, will die tomorrow, will continue dying. La noche di que committed suicide in prison. La noche went out for Skittles. La noche had a toy gun. The night just wants to live. The night will cry bioluminescent tears. The night will stretch out its arms, will invite Antonio to drink pitorro before he's introduced to Jesus. Yayana Jones, Adrián Cimental, Héctor Morejón, Antonio Pérez, Ernesto Javier Canepa Díaz, Rubén Villalpando, Joaquín Hernández, Jesse Hernández, Joshua Omar Garcia, and Philandro, and Tamir, and Trayvon, and Michael, and Eric, and Sandra, and Ahmad, and Brianna, and George, and the night's crisp, crunchy footsteps will lead to beaches in La Florida. Y te lo juro, brother, that aqua green waters taste just like Iris's tears. Maribel still holds on to unborn children named Antonio, David, Iris, Ramon, and they will never know their father. So this last piece, my elders taught me that sometimes we need to keep the voices of those that came before us alive. So I want to read Fable by Etheridge Knight, and I'll end it with that. A Fable by Etheridge Knight. Once upon a today and yesterday and nevermore, there were 7 men and women all locked up in prison cells. Now, these 7 men and women were innocent of any crimes. They were in prison because their skins were black. Day after day, the prisoner paced their cells, pining for their freedom, and non-black jailers would laugh at the prisoners and beat them with sticks and throw their food on the floor. Finally, prisoner number 1 said, I will educate myself and emulate the non-colored people. This is the way to freedom. Come on, you guys, and follow me. Hell no, said prisoner number 2. The only way to get free is to pray to my God, and he will deliver you like he delivered Daniel from the lion's den. So unite and follow me. Bullshit, said prisoner number 3. The only way out is through this tunnel I've been quietly digging. So come on and follow me. Said prisoner number 4. That's too risky. The right way is to follow all the rules and don't make the non-colored people angry. So come on, brothers and sisters, and unite behind me. Fuck you, said prisoner number 5. The only way out is to shoot our way out. If all of you get together behind me. No, said prisoner number 6. All of you are incorrect. You have to analyze the political situation by my systematic method of historical me, GBGBs. All we have to do is wait long enough and the bars will bend from their own inner rot. This is the only way. Oh, y'all crazy, cried prisoner number 7. I'll get out by myself by ratting on the rest of you to the non-colored people. This is the only way. This is the only way. No, no, they all cried, come and follow me. I have the way, the only way to freedom. And so they argued. And to this day, they're still arguing. And to this day, they're still in their prison cells, their stomachs trembling with fear. Mi gente, buenas noches. Thank you for the time. Blessings. Please stay safe.
Well, let's try that again. Give it up for Ponce Pagan, y'all. I was hearing myself fine, but nobody else was. So yeah, man, I shared to Etheridge Knight and to the poets who have left us and who are still doing it. Um let's move on to the one and only Alcalde de los Sures. Give it up for Isa Guzman.
Yo, yo, yo. Buenas noches. It's amazing to be here with all of you. Um, this has been a hell of a time. When this initial reading was planned, we were just going to come in and do our thing and have some fun and be with each other and be with the community as we always like to be. And then literally a revolution is breaking out from our eyes. It's amazing to see. It's hard to see sometimes. Uh, I want to give it up to every protester who's out there. I want to give it to every person who is doing jail support, whether or not you're running supplies, whether or not you're helping legally, whether or not you're donating. Um, all of us need to come together in this situation right now. And we really need to be out there for Black lives. And as everything was going off, I was thinking a lot about my own position as a light-skinned Boricua. Uh, and honestly, as a light-skinned Boricua who is living with a very old man who is straight racist. I ain't gonna mix words in this. And so with that racism that I grew up with, I have to really unlearn, unpack, and untangle so much stuff on the daily. And literally with him in the kitchen when we're having breakfast or lunch, which you can imagine. I wrote this piece today in relation to that, and I'm gonna just get right into it. It's untitled right now. 1. At the dinner table, my father groans. A piece of plátano stuck in his throat. And there's a revolution going on. He don't get it. And he gets it. He understands what these people want, but coughs in the same breath that racism is never going to end. That not even white folks can fix that. That the police will never change. That why they burning down their own communities? That only sinvergüenza steal things. That you don't mix races. That not even white folks can fix this. That there are racists in voting again. That back in his day, he saw a bunch of shit. That the morenos vivieron como que se quiera. That my brother ran around with them too much. That ellos, blanquitos y morenos, siempre existieron juntos, siempre separados, aparte juntos. That his daughter dated one for a brief time. That black and white people were always in each other's houses. That he had 2 or 3 white girls, Cristina, Kristen, Catalina, Catherine. That not even white folks can fix this. That que se dice, ellos no saben que lo quieren. That estoy cansado de escucharte dice lo mismo otra vez, repitiendo y repitiendo los mismos. And he'll repeat this for several hours at a time. 2. I stay in my room. Desperation. Privilege. His pieces of words stuck in my off-white wall. His presence. That I can't break bread with you, my father. Because I'm reminded of that one time a few years ago during Thanksgiving when Shauna was over. And you raved about how good her people's fried chicken was. And you were surprised that her mother was a scientist. And you kept interrogating her about having a job. And after you kept that questioning with me, and later you would say to me, ella es de una de las buenas. Ella es de una de las buenas. And you abandoned me in anger. because I am reminded of that one homeless black man on Grand Street you called Petroleo Man. And you jeered every time we passed. Oye, Petroleo. To the laundromat, the supermercado. Oye, Imam across the street. Petroleo. And he had a pipe in his pushcart. And he always grumbled when we passed by. Oye, Petroleo, why are you so mad all the time? And I asked you, why do you call him that? And what did Petroleo even mean? And you answered, because he was dirty. So dirty, his skin was extra black. And one day, he disappeared. Pushcart and pipe, rags and machete, Moses staff and all, split the scene. So one day, years later, from noon and ditch school, from the book of the dead, from the book of coming forth by day, from the book of emerging forth into the light, I saw him, still homeless and tired. And my first instinct was to cross the street. And my first instinct was to cross myself. And instead, we traded gazes. And instead, I walked faster into confusion and felt abandoned in my shame. Because 2.5 years ago, you told me your brother was darker than you. And you say he forcibly brought you here. And you say your mother loved him too much. And you call him ugly, call him Indio. And you say it was his fault that you didn't live with your father. He said, and you said he didn't have a father. And you say you've lost all the pictures, never took them, or someone took them. And you say he was punishing you, but you don't know why. Que no sabe por qué. Que nos puso en esta mierda. And then I find out this. Jaime era blanquito como digo. And why would you lie about something like that? And how language others with dark features? And how easy was it for you to tell it like this to me? And this, Father, son me into ghost. I am lost, and you left me in my losing. 3, I sit with you sometimes and ask questions because little else about you offers me solace because I'm uncomfortable with myself around you. Let me say that again, because I am uncomfortable with myself around you. Every day, a new turn on the same story, details that require specificity, you pass off for some other time. We talk about what's going on, and I circle back into history, try to link our lives. But too alien, you kept the sentence apart. My life was different. I'm not a part of that shit. I don't understand. This is not how it happened. These people aren't doing what they're supposed to. Why do people act this way? Sometimes you repeat the things I say to you, as if you had said them yourself. We reach through a tangle, teach through a tangle of time. Sometimes you repeat the things I say to you and change its meaning just enough to keep us going, back and forth. And then I leave when I've had enough. I sit with myself for hours even, untangling myself from you. I sit with myself for hours odd, entangle myself further. Thank you for that. And now, because I feel that it's necessary, I'm going to yield my time. I'm going to yield my time to a brother from the past. Let me see if I can share this content. Hopefully I can. Give me 1 second.
Do you think you're free, Officer Dunn?
Yes, I think I'm free.
No more questions, Officer Dunn. God help you. So we always say in the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction. And the people are going to have to attack the pigs. The people are going to have to stand up against the pigs. That's what the Panthers are doing. That's what the Panthers are doing all over the world.
We have brought to trial here Fred Hampton. You are here to judge between two conflicting testimonies. Somebody is lying. Now, reason stands, and reason is very clear here, that Private Jones, who had come from Sanford, North Carolina, would have no great desire to see Fred Hampton up in this trial. But Fred Hampton, a key figure in this community, has great reason for not wanting to be put in jail.
But the state's attorney and the state's attorney's office has reasons to see Fred Hampton in jail. We've got a new state's attorney, you see. And he said already what he thought about people that had different political beliefs than he had. His speeches sound somewhat like those of Hitler, and we know why he wants to see Fred Hampton put in jail. Why do I have a lot of arrests? Because of harassment. Why is that harassment? Because the people that harass me have set up a problem that made me disagree with them violently, and they set up this problem in order to exploit me and other people like me. And why they want to get rid of me? Because I'm saying something that might wake up some other exploited people and some other oppressed people, and if all these people ever get together, then these pigs that are exploiting us, we'll be able to run them into the lake. That's why they want to get rid of us. And it's just, it's sort of like a primary thing with me. I'm the first move that they'll make. I'm a part of the organization. It will be the first organization they'll move on because I happen to be a part of the organization, the Black Panther Party. That is the only organization, in fact, that has came out and stood up loud and clear and said that we don't care what anybody says, whether they have guns or not and badges or 18 uniforms. If whenever they step outside the bounds of legality into the bounds of illegality, then we'll blow their brains out if they're bothering the people. And what makes them mad about that? They're constantly bothering the people. Anybody that's out there for the protection of the people happens to be in direct conflict with them. What makes them mad about it? What makes them mad about it is that they have black people and white poor people and red poor people and Puerto Rican poor people and Latin American Puerto Rican people of poor people of all descents. They had them caught up in movements based on racism when the Black Panther Party stood up and said that we don't care what anybody says. We don't think you fight fire with fire best. We think you fight fire with water best. We're going to fight racism, not with racism, but we're going to fight with solidarity. We said we're not going to fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we're going to fight it with socialism. We stood up and said we're not going to fight reactionary pigs and reactionary state's attorneys like this and reactionary state's attorneys like Hanrahan with any other reactions on our part. We're going to fight their reactions where all of us people are getting together and have an international proletarian revolution.
Right on. Right on.
And that's saying all power to the people. Right on. That's saying that no matter what color you are, there's only two classes. And that's saying there's a class over here and there's a class over there. And the reason that this class over here has never did anything to get this class off its back because this is lower, this is upper. This is the oppressed, this is the oppressor. This is the exploited, this is the exploiter. And these people in this class have divided themselves. They say, I'm black and I hate white people. I'm white and I hate black people. I'm Latin American and I hate hillbillies. I'm hillbilly and I hate Indians. So we fight amongst each other. And you've heard the testimony of pigs here, and you got pigs of all colors, you know that. You got pigs that are white, you got pigs that are black, you even got pigs that are black and white. Propagating the same type of madness that this buffoon Hanrahan would be propagating if he were here himself. And why? Because they want to keep you to believing that I'm your enemy, and that everybody else that's black and that wears a lot of hair on his head and hair on his face, they want to keep you thinking that he's your enemy. Why? Because if ever you would disregard him and overlook him just for a minute and throw away that question of racism and start into dealing with a little logic, then there would be no one else you could attack other than Hanrahan, other than Davy, and other than Tricky Dicky Nixon. you make the right decision and the press people of the world get complete satisfaction. I know you return a verdict of not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brothers.
Yo, Isa, brother, man, that was something. Thank you. We appreciate you. That was powerful. Yeah, what else can I add to that? Give it up one more time for Isa Guzman, everybody. Era Calle de los Sures, indeed. Bringing the history. Bueno, next up to our virtual open mic is the man, the myth, the legend, the superhero. Give it up for El Palabrero, D Bird, baby. Where you at?
I'm right here, hiding in the shadows still, because I really can't find the light. Hold on, give me a second.
Okay.
Until then, my name is Daniel Jose Gastambia Núñez Arriaga Acosta Suárez Ceja. Bird. But you can call me D-Bird. And I am very fucking tired. It's been a long week of both working. My day job is as a psychologist and assistant professor of clinical psychology at the New School. Moving in between patients and students and protests and the news cycle and hand sanitizer and soap and masks is a lot. In the past week, I've seen beautiful, moving, incredibly powerful protests that are peaceful and that are safe. And periodically, as I'm walking through and with that protest, I will see random strangers operating independently, trying to start some shit. The level of infiltration and attempts to corrupt the protests is real. But despite everything that's happened, we still keep going out there, in this case here in the streets of Brooklyn, to try to represent an allyship with our Black brothers and sisters, and to proclaim with them unambiguously and without hesitation that Black lives matter. And for those of us who work in the mental health scene, we also believe that Black minds matter, that mental health matters, that provision for services that can help people take care of their needs, including mentally and emotionally, is incredibly important. And as we move through these coming months, we're seeing this protest calling for reforming, in some cases, abolishing the criminal justice system and the police system, and creating something new, while also calling for healthcare, for protection of communities of color, for resources to be taken from the police departments and brought back into our communities. And as much as I am tired and I am scared, there's also somewhere in me an ember of hope that we can all be together individually as community, our own superheroes. This is entitled, How Lin-Manuel Broke My Heart and Turned Me into a Supervillain. I hope you enjoy. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. El verdadero superhéroe. Carlitos era un niño que vivía obsesionado con el zorro y con Superman. Tenía los muñecos de Star Wars, el de G.I. Joe y el de Spider-Man. Pasaba horas muertas encerrado en su habitación, jugando con sus personajes, usando la imaginación. Porque en el fondo quería ser un superhéroe. De esos que no pierden un caso, pues no pueden fallar. Que tienen 20 vidas y pistolas bien avanzadas. Que te enseñan casi siempre que la solución es matar. Que no tienen sentimientos y no saben llorar. I remember the moment I saw him like yesterday on YouTube, reciting, rhyming faster than a speeding bullet, lyricizing, freestyling stronger than a locomotive, able to spit rhymes with a love most supreme in a single bound. I remember thinking, hey, that man looks like me. My Puerto Rican senses were tingling. I sensed the disturbance in the Boricua force. The soplito side was strong in this one. This was the first time I saw a Puerto Rican man in media. In the Heights, 4-time Tony Award winning with Hamilton reaching new heights of brilliance, his name itself was a song. Ling, 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 Manuel Miranda. Seeing him was like seeing me, like I'd never seen myself before. It's true what they say about representation. It's intoxicating, like a drug, numbs the senses, impairs the ability to think. Without even realizing I was missing the forest for the Lynn, I thought change was coming, change was coming, change was coming, change was coming, changes coming at the speed of chia. And I'm not throwing away my shot, because how could I when he threw it away for me? How do you square Puerto Rican liberation with putting slave owners in black and brown faces performing in front of predominantly rich white faces at $1,000 a pop in the center aisle, 3 to 5 times a week, divided by our people's struggle 7 days multiplied by 7 nights a week? The math just, hold on, carry the 2, divide by 3. The math does not add up. How do you square que viva Puerto Rico libre with broken promesas? How do you square Puerto Rico lo hace mejor with Ricky Leaks and photo ops? How do you square decolonized Boriquen with Wall Street recolonizing? You don't. We get distracted by black and brown faces in high places, while black and brown people serve and suffer in low places, suddenly redefined as essential. While black and brown bodies die and fade into memory. Where are our heroes now? What good are they when they perform wokeness on the stage and sell us out backstage? No taxation without representation? How about no representation without reparation, without justice, without reconstruction of our streets and communities, our schools and social safety nets? But no. Riches, profit, and healthcare for them, whether they be white or black or brown, rugged individualism, and a side of coronavirus for the rest of us. The killing, murder, and execution of Black life in this country has taken the mask off. They walk their mixed breed Shih Tzu Pomeranian. We clean up their mixed breed Shih Tzu Pomeranian's poop and live under a military police state. And eventually, and by eventually, I mean in the next 3.75 seconds, take another Black life. Say their names. Just for a moment, say their names. Eric Gardner, Dante Parker, Denisha Anderson, Matthew Ajibade, Mia Hall, Alexa Christian, Freddie Blue, Albert Joseph Davis, Michael Saby, Ashams Faroa Manley, Lamontes Jones, Alonzo Smith, Michael Lee Marshall, Benny Lee Tignor, Quintonio Legrier, Antoni Scott, Terrell Thomas, Ronnell Foster, Pamela Turner, Michael Lorenzo Dean, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Where are our heroes now? Writing another award-winning show while investing in bonds that pillage our island, while investing in for-profit prisons, while investing in school-to-prison pipelines, while investing in pharmaceutical companies selling us the lie that we can't have healthcare for everybody, while investing on our tombstones, while, hold on, I just got an email, just received an email from the Legion of Doom. Why is the Legion of Doom sending emails? What the fuck are they trying to, hold on. We, the Legion of Doom, stand with protesters fighting for social change and betterment of Black lives. While we do pollute your seas and oceans, rob you of your money on a regular basis, create chaos, murder, and mayhem, attempt to destroy the planet with nuclear weapons at least once every season of Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Daredevil, Luke Cage, parentheses, such a great show. Love it, miss it so much, love its depiction of Harlem. Bring it back, Netflix, close parentheses, and Jessica Jones. Even though we are evil, we are not racist. Effective immediately, I, Lex Luthor, will appoint the Joker and Chitara to spearhead a diversity initiative to expand the number of villains of color, especially Black villains, in active membership at the Legion of Doom. We recognize our participation in the historical disadvantages faced by Black supervillains and will rectify this injustice. Let me be clear, so we are not misunderstood. We're still evil. We want to steal everyone's wealth, especially Black wealth. We would never discriminate in our victims. Yours truly in villainy, Lex Luthor. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Is the goal to diversify our oppressors as they sit on that table eating their fill while we fill our bellies with crumbs? Or is it to flip that table upside down? We have to become our own heroes. But if they are the heroes, we need to become our own villains. Muchas gracias. Black Lives Matter y que viva Puerto Rico libre.
Vaya, brother. Give it up one more time for D Bird, you guys. Wow. That brother's always got something. So we're gonna close it out. I'm going to do a couple of pieces and then we can kind of just call it an evening. My name is Rich Villar. Let me switch over to speaker view here. This is always interesting as hell. Trying to figure out how to basically be how to be like a TV producer. It's the weirdest thing. Okay, so I wanted to read something a little newish along with something a little old-ish, both of which in solidarity with the folks that are out on the street protesting, and with the Black Lives Matter movement, and with our Afro-Latino brothers and sisters, Afro-Latinx community. So the Quansible form is a poetic form that was invented by the poet Eugene Redmond. And I wrote a piece called Double Quansiba. The Quansiba form, right? So it's 7 lines, 7 words per line, 7 letters per word in the line. This is called Double Quansiba, written on the occasion of Latino Heritage Month, or Double Quansiba, written on the occasion of Black History Month, or Double Quansiba, actually written during April, about Latinos who routinely deny their African heritage. Say the words: Joropo, El Sambo Manuel, Guillén, Pales Matos, Pietris Que Pasa Power, Soul Tonight, Felipe, Willie, Hector, Tito, Cheo, East Harlem Despojo, Elegua, Legba, Abuela's Altar, Chitlin, Tripas, Rice, Beans, Beans and Rice, Chinette, Guinep, Guinep, Kenepa, Aquí, Mamon. How does your dance black, compay? Not stolen, hidden in plain sight. Yoruba's Spanish accent mixes blood, palm strikes across migrant factory tongues. Lorca dancing in Cuba, Langston in Oriente, son, jazz, Chano Pozo, Dudun Bansa, Field hollers turned dance, spells cast by Spanish black hands. When have we not needed to raise our dead? Okay. I started an essay. I started something like notes toward an essay. That's part history lesson and just part getting a lot of different thoughts out about what's happening. And I'm just going to close with this. This is doesn't have a title yet, but yeah, here we go. 99 years ago, the Greenwood massacre occurred in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We literally don't know how many people were killed because this was an assault by air and by ground of white people against what was then the most prosperous black community in the United States. And record keeping was, to put it charitably, loose. When it was over with, 35 square blocks were leveled and anywhere between 39 to 175 people were killed. If you didn't know about it, don't be too ashamed. Oklahoma itself only made it part of the curriculum this year, and only because the writer of Watchmen on HBO made it part of the story. Meanwhile, 35 years ago, on May 10th, the Philadelphia Police Department dropped a C4 bomb on 6621 Osage Avenue in a law enforcement action against a black liberation organization called MOVE. The chief of police at the time made the critical decision to let the ensuing fire burn, which resulted in the loss of 61 homes and 250 people left homeless, none of whom were involved with MOVE at all. Of the 13 people who lived inside 6621, only 2, one adult and one child, made it out alive. 5 children died in the fire. The adult survivor, Ramona Africa, was arrested and spent 7 years in prison. We characterize the assassination of Malcolm X as the end of a sort of gang war, a religious war even, violence of the type we'll hear decried in response. The whatabouts we hear whenever there's an incident of white police killing unarmed black suspects. But what about black folks who kill other black folks? We hear ad nauseum. What about black on black crime? Malcolm was blasted by at least one shotgun-wielding assailant at the Audubon Ballroom, most of whom were alleged to be associated with the Nation of Islam. Even that much isn't widely known, but what is lesser known is the fact that the NYPD ran a counter-surveillance program on activists, religious leaders, and in Harlem, and that at least one member of the NYPD had infiltrated Malcolm's security detail. Less than 6 hours after Malcolm X's assassination, the Audubon Ballroom was cleaned up for a dance. That's how quickly we forget. In Puerto Rico, the leader of the Puerto Rican Nationalist Party, Pedro Albizu Campos, had been jailed on and off since the 1930s. During his final stint in prison, which began after the revocation of a gubernatorial pardon, and did you know such a thing was possible? Albizu was the subject of government radiation experiments on Puerto Rican prisoners, an actual crime against humanity which was not acknowledged until the Clinton administration. From the time of his death in 1965 until almost 30 years later, we Boricuas were left to wonder why Albizu entered prison a healthy man and emerged with radiation burns. The idea that he'd been a human guinea pig was dismissed as a conspiracy theory. I've been thinking a lot about this, theory versus practice. We want to believe, hell, I want to believe in a narrative of the American story in which we're getting better and more progressive, and that we're leaving behind the sins of our past. We believe in the theory of racial progress so deeply and so completely that we are willing to separate the practice of racial injustice as the practices of a few bad actors. These are hard pills to swallow, even for someone like myself who believes in complicating the story of American history, who knows the foreign policy record of this country, and in Latin America especially, and who believes in the poetics of the political imagination, and who is under no delusion about American exceptionalism. I want theory to be right. 27 constitutional amendments, a civil war, the entire decade of the 1960s. We want that to mean that we're on the path to a more perfect union. But then the sitting president of the United States orders protesters gassed and black and brown bodies moved about by force. so that he can cross the street and hold up a Bible in front of a church he was never invited to. This in response to multiple cameras in multiple cities with multiple camera shots depicting the murder of black body after black body after politicized black body in a continuum of state-sponsored violence dating back to 1619. I think it's important for us as adults living in the worst time of civil unrest since the 1960s, which, by the way, saw the state-sponsored assassinations of Pedro Albizu Campos, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King Jr., don't get it twisted, to ensure that our friends and families are not ahistorical. If you're horrified at the images of looters and rioters in cities like Philadelphia and New York and Minneapolis, what you must also understand is that American violence is not born in a vacuum. This is literally us. Hot dogs and apple pie, be damned. Race itself is an economic construct born out of the European conquest of Africa and the Americas. The merchant classes, the ruling classes, the classes responsible for fattening the coffers of Europe needed some kind of moral cover to subjugate continents, massacre its inhabitants by the millions, loot them of their resources, and kidnap them for free labor. Believing in people's inherent inferiority provided them with precisely the cover they needed. You might say, but all that happened 500 years ago. And you'd be right. But what you must also understand is that every policeman who ever drew his weapon in fear of a black person, every white woman who relies on the police to execute violence on her behalf, every government policy that stripped black people of their homes and civil rights post-slavery is a direct result and descendant of that mentality. And you'd also be wrong, because what happened to black folks, state-sponsored violence and slavery servitude as commerce, has been happening to the black community continuously since the arrival of the first outsiders to Africa, and that happened much longer than 500 years ago. There's a boy in a red shirt approaching the line of police deliberately, like a cat, peering behind every face shield to speak to the human being underneath. He has stopped to talk to each man and each woman, the brown faces and the white faces and the black faces, not unlike his own. And they are each one trying to mask their own feelings about this moment, it seems. This moment caught on camera and broadcasted out to the world. A few are stoic. A few smile at the audacity of this brown boy speaking in a voice not loud enough for the microphones to pick up. A few turn their faces away from him. The boy in the red shirt isn't here to pander for the news crew or break his fist off on something. He's already moved back once under the police phalanx marching forward. He's already seen and heard the flashbangs in front of the headquarters for the AFL-CIO in Lafayette Park down the street from the White House. He's here to talk, to give the soldiers in front of him a new set of orders to follow. The boy in the red shirt is tall, lean, isn't raising his voice, wears a full backpack and a bottle of water, and looks like he hasn't seen the barber and won't for a while. His gait, his big hair, his height and his build, his refusal to acknowledge the camera behind him are not unlike the way my stepson occupies this world now. He could have just as easily been walking to the bus, or alongside his mother to school, or sitting in my living room playing the hero or the anti-hero on his favorite PlayStation game. The other day, my stepson responded to a speech he heard on YouTube in a way that showed us he'd been listening to his mother's lessons, maybe even to a lecture of mine too. Kids are funny like that. One minute, you wonder if you've been talking to an empty room. The next, they're writing dissertations around you. Or they say something quietly and without taking their eyes off you that stops you cold and makes you realize that you have to gird them for something that they will never learn unless you teach them. Every human being has the responsibility to fight back against a historical perspective and understand that none of this upheaval happens for no reason. You, yes, you are responsible to know these things. You, yes, you are responsible for dismantling the very social contract if it means that people will continue to die within it. Until we're able to reckon with the past, we will not be able to deal with the present. and the future will hold nothing but fire. Bueno, mi gente, thank you all for tuning in to this grand experiment called La Esquina live on YouTube. Um, Peace to all of the family that is home right now in this crazy moment in history that we're living in. I know that it's really, really difficult and really, really hard, and you know it's been weighing on everybody's mind. I know it's been weighing on mine. I know it's been weighing on on my brothers in the Titere poets, and I know it's been weighing on my friends, and it's just it's a lot. Um, but know that we will get through this. And, oh, and by the way, there's a whole pandemic happening at the same time. Right. So all of these things are happening just to, psychically to everybody at the same time. And it's really, really hard. But know that we will get through this together. Black Lives Matter. Um, we are all here, and definitely here for the folks who are out there protesting, who are making the changes that are really, really necessary, and busting down the doors that have to be fucking busted down, y'all, for real. I want to give a shout out to Anthony Rivera, Daniel Gastambide, D. Bird, Isa Guzman, Mario Ponce, Jose Pagan Morales, Rebel Poet, and my boy Mark Vigo. This is Rich Villar signing off. I have to give you one quick announcement and tell you that La Esquina, in conjunction with La Cocina, will be back on June the 19th. Our special guest that day will be Martin Espada. You're gonna, yes, indeed. I'm watching my guys all react at the same time. Yeah, we'll be reading with the members of the La Cocina workshop that have been working in the last couple of the last month or so with poems responding to the pandemic and now responding to the changes that are going on. So we hope to catch you Friday, June 19th. And yeah, y'all, peace out. We'll catch you soon.